All right. Now, the poem Fear was written by a Chilean poetess. Okay, Chilean poetess. So she's named as Gabriela Mistral. Okay, now Gabriela Mistral is a Chilean poetess and also she's an educator, whereas she's also described as a Latin American author who received the Nobel Prize in Literature. So these are her achievements in literature. You can explain those points. So in this poem, the narrator is a mother. Now, can you remember in the previous poem, we discussed about father and son, which is a valuable message given by a father to his son. Now, in this poem, you will learn a different story, a mother's character. The narrator in this poem is a mother and she is telling her true feelings, what her daughter should be. Okay, mother's feelings on what her daughter should be when she grow up, when that little daughter grow up. So now when you read the title of the poem, you will understand a certain kind of a tense. There is a certain slight tense. Why is that? Now, fear means you understand what is the fear. Why is it called as the fear? Why should she get fear on this one? Now, someone will expect to read something frightening. When you read the title, if you have really not done this poem before anywhere, you might feel, okay, you have to read. Something frightening might be there. That is why it is called as the fear. But understand, the fear in this poem is more anxiety. More anxiety. Anxiety means the more tense, your panic. It's more anxiety than the real fear. It is about a mother's anxiety. Now, these words, what I'm telling you, are not just explanation. These are the points that you can include your introduction, right? So, this poem is about a mother's anxiety. Earlier, we told you about the father. Can you remember father and son? Father is having a fear about his son's future, about the responsibilities. Now it's a thought and feelings about a mother. So every mother is having a kind of fear, a kind of worry, some hopes, tension. Everything is there. So all these feelings are mixed up in that mother because she thinks about what her daughter, her child, or her children should become in future. So if you really have some kind of good relatives, if you are really living in a good, what we call it, a combined family, you might meet different kind of people, different kind of mothers. So some mothers, they have very high hopes, very high hopes. They dream a lot. From the day that you came to their womb, they dream a lot. So some we call them as kind of material success people. They are often, they are relating your life for the material success. What is material success now? Any idea what is material success? Just give me your opinions. Yes, material success means you are success in education. My child should study well. She should learn very well. She should be the first in the class. She or he should get the high rank in the country, the section first. Likewise, they have some sort of hopes on you about your success in education. So that is one part which falls under the material success. But will they stop from there? No. As soon as you finish your degree or your top-ups, whatever, what will they do? Employment success. They are always dreaming, my son should work, my daughter should work in a very high company, she should get the highest position, the high rank and all. They have the dreams on your job, your career. That is also a material success. Some parents are there. They're always looking for these things only. And later, what will they see? Money making. How much money are you earning? my son, my daughter should earn this much and this much. So they look you like a money-making machine. And they want you to gain the highest status in the society. So what do you think? Is this correct or wrong? Is that kind of a parent good or bad? What do you think? Is it good or bad? Is that parent good or bad? Are their thoughts really good or not? Just ask yourself. Right now, that's actually, we can't say it's really a bad parent. My God, that is a money-minded parent. We can't tell like that. Maybe she is willing to see you in success. But there are some parents who are not related to material success. Those parents are related to you in terms of happiness. In terms of happiness. Now you might think, although this is very less, very less, I told you material success, education, employment, money making, gaining status. I told a lot. But when I come to this point, I told only one word, happiness. So it's very simple. You might see it as a simple word, but in this poem, you will understand how the mother confesses what she really wishes her daughter to be. She doesn't want her daughter to have money and good education or good employment. And she doesn't want her daughter to be like a money-making machine and to get the highest status in the society. This mother's only innocent wish is that my daughter should be happy. She should live with me. I should spend time with her. This is the main idea of the poem. So now I gave you a brief introduction to the poem. Right, now let's move into the poem. Stanza by stanza, as usual, line by line. Right, explanation will be done, techniques will be discussed. So once you have any question, you can ask me, time will be given for that. Now look at the first one. I don't want them to turn my little girl into a swallow. She would fly far away into the sky and never fly again into my straw bed. Or she would nest in the eaves where I could not comb her hair. I don't want them to turn my little girl into a swallow. Now, here you can see mother is telling, this poem is narrated by the mother. I told that in the starting of the explanation. She's telling, I don't want them to turn my little girl into a swallow. Poem is narrated by the mother and she's telling, I don't want them. Them means some kind of outsiders, the society, the other people who are involving in her daughter's life. She doesn't want them. Them means outside society. So that means, what do you understand from that line? Mother is having a fear of the society. So she's fearing that the society will grab her daughter away from her and mother will be alone in this world. That is the fear she has. That is the fear she has. And she's telling she would fly far away into the sky and never fly again into my straw bed. Now remember, daughter cannot fly. Okay, daughter cannot fly. But the mother is thinking that if they take away, she will fly far away. That means she will reach into high positions. As I told you, there is a group of parents who are looking for materialistic success. What happened at last for the parents who are looking for materialist success? Children will go to abroad. Mother is here, father is here. They will not come. Nowadays, most probably, even for the death of the parents, children are not there due to their higher positions. So this mother is telling, if my daughter fly far away, if my daughter reach high and never fly again into my straw bed. Now, the word straw bed, this is actually kind of signifying the modesty. It is signifying the simplicity. You can tell, symbolizing straw bed. Straw bed is telling about the simple life. It's a symbol. It's another technique. It is symbolizing the modesty. That is straw bed. So this mother, like any other mother, she is also anxious about her daughter. So she's talking of her straw bed, that is to mention the simple daily life that she and her daughter spends. It shows what kind of an affection both of them are having. And she's telling, or she would nest in the eaves. So she won't come and sleep with her, spend time with her. That is the fear that mother has. So you understand what kind of a honest feeling that mother has, because she doesn't want her daughter to go and earn outside and make her like a queen. She wants her to spend time with her, right? And further she's telling, where I could not comb her hair. Now mother is telling, if she go far away leaving me, she can't comb her daughter's hair, right? So she want to have time with her. She want to comb her hair, sleep with her daughter, and rocking her. Likewise, she want to spend time with her and look after the daughter, right? Again, she says, I don't want them to turn my little girl into a swallow. So you can see the repetition here. So she is repeating the same thing to show the importance of that statement, right? So that now you can see below I have mentioned them is the outside society. Swallow is the metaphor, that is a small migratory bird fly away to find the suitable climates. So mother has compared, if the daughter is in a high position, suppose if my daughter reach for a high position, she's like a straw bird. She will fly far away. So sky is symbolizing the limitless place. Sky, you know that it has no end, right? If somebody learn, if somebody start to learn, if you are addicted to learning, you will never stop it, right? You will do your O levels, you will do your A levels, diplomas, degrees, then the PhDs, then what masters, everything. You will go to the top. Like you feel, I want to learn more. I want to learn more. That's the feeling you get, right? So sky is a limitless space. The mother is now scared. My daughter will far away fly into the sky. Another symbolism is there, as I told you, the straw bed, that is the simple life. It shows the simplicity of the life. Is the first stanza clear? Do you have any questions regarding to the first stanza? Do you have any questions? Okay, it's clear. Now go to the second stanza. I don't want them to make my little girl a princess. In tiny golden slippers, how could she play on the meadow? Now see the question. I don't want them to make my little girl into a princess. Again, the mother is mentioning, I don't want them. Now you know who is that them, the society, outside society. And mother is telling, no, I don't want them to make my little girl a princess. Now, why princess is mentioned here? You know that princess is someone who is inherited to enjoy the life, very luxurious life. So princess is having all the luxury, all the comfort, and she's kind of, we can say she'll be really like a, a girl who is in a bed of roses, right? That much of comfort. So she don't want her little girl to become a princess either. And you can understand another point mentioned, tiny golden slippers. So what is this phrase, tiny golden slippers? What is the significance of this phrase? What is it trying to symbolize? You understand that it is symbolizing the luxurious life, right? The wealthy lifestyle is mentioned. So sometimes the daughter might have reached high standards of life. But what do you understand? The poetess is scared about that. She's fearing. She's having certain anxious because she's worrying that one day that she will be deprived. Okay, how could she play on the meadow? How could she play in the meadow? Now, this bird meadow is symbolizing you the simple, realistic life, as I told you in the previous stanza. Straw bed, that is also symbolizing the simplicity of life. Here, meadow is also symbolizing the simple, realistic life of a man. So this mother is genuinely, honestly, she's hoping that her daughter should be living in a very simple environment, right? She don't want her daughter to be deserted in an unknown land. Now, when you learn, when you are earning, like when you are grown up, what happened? You go for somewhere, right? Definitely, you are not going to stay in this country. You are going somewhere, you are earning, you start waiting with people, new job opportunities, high standards, promotions, and all. So this mother doesn't want her daughter to get deserted in an unknown land. And when night came, no longer would she sleep at my side. I don't want them to make my little girl a princess. Now she's fearing, suppose if my little girl became a princess, I won't be able to sleep near her. So she won't be able to rock her. She won't be able to spend time with her. That sentence simply you can understand. I don't want them to make my little girl a princess. She's repeating the same again. Right? So this sentence, when she says she cannot sleep at her side, you should understand what kind of an affection that mother is having towards her daughter. Right? This is the second stanza's explanation. So both the stanzas are proving that mother's fear about the daughter reaching to a high position. Now look at the third stanza. And even less do I want them one day to make her a queen. They would put her on a throne where I could not go to see her. And when night time came, I could even rock her. I don't want them to make my little girl a queen. This is the last stanza of the poem. Now, how did she start this? I don't want them to make her a swallow, a princess, and finally a queen. This is the ultimate result. So, who is a queen? You know everyone, right? But have you ever seen a queen? Have you ever met the president? Have you ever met the Queen of England? Likewise, when I ask you a question, definitely it's a no. The reason we can't meet them as that easily, right? They are in high positions. So this mother is telling, and even less do I want them one day to make her a queen. So this is the climax of the incident. Queen is the head of the state. Explain them, okay? You have to explain them. Queen is the head of the state. So you know that everyone, the subject, what is subject means? People. Every person, every citizen in the country, in that particular, what we call that, the state, they have to honor the queen. So you might be thinking why she is worrying if her daughter is going to become a queen. Every parent is wishing their child to be the head of the state. That's definite. But here, Gabriela Mistral, the poetess, she is exception. She's different. She's strange. She is very modest. And she is highly pessimistic about the materialistic progress. She doesn't want that. She completely ignores materialistic values. The main reason the mother wants her daughter is because she wants to spend time with her, and she wants her daughter in a distance that she can approach. Suppose if she become the princess or the queen, definitely she cannot. She would be far away from the daughter. it would be difficult for her to reach to the daughter. So I can say in this poem, the daughter is very realistic here. Of course, that's the real daughter. And the sentiments of the mother are not selfish. She is peeping into the reality and she is giving you some reasonable justification. And she is having a request from the society. Now, what does she say here? Throne. I don't want them to put her on a throne. What is this throne? Throne is symbolizing the highest position. Any person can reach that highest position. That is only throne is representing. So remember, these poems are not just poems that you learned in grade 3, 4. These are having good universal messages, and they are giving you very hidden meanings and real message to the society. That's why this is coming under the theme of life, right? This poem is belonging to the theme of life. So this is not humor. This is not something funny here. You know that. Now, mother is expecting, listen very carefully, mother is expecting her daughter to spend a very simple day-to-day life. So in the third stanza, when you come to the climax point, you understand that mother is driving her idea, her point very deeply. She's giving some, she's releasing some stress on her words. How do I understand that? From the first line of third stanza. And even less do I want them. At least I don't want them to make her a queen. Right? So that is releasing the mother's stress. She is emphasizing that she doesn't want her daughter to become someone who is beyond her, who is someone who is far away from her life. So this mother is stressing the fact that her daughter should stay along with her, right? Her daughter should stay with her, and she should have a very realistic life. She doesn't want to give unrealistic and materialistic false goals to the child. And she wanted this mother-daughter relationship to remain as it was always. The love, the affection, and the normal, simple, beautiful, everyday life. That's what the mother wanted. That is the simple wish of this mother. Right? Now, you know that in our society, in the Sri Lankan society, parents are, highly exaggerating some, what we call that, unrealizable goals are there. Definitely you can't reach them, right? Only 1% maybe. But these parents are highly exaggerating those goals for their children. Before they born, they have plans. My child is an engineer. My child is a doctor. Likewise, they have so much of goals. They don't think what the child's, daughter's, son's talent, what they really like, what is their favorite field they want. Sri Lankan people, definitely you have a lot to see. Right? They are always planning. Definitely you should go for campus. Definitely you should have a degree if you want to have success in your life. So this thought, this idea is misdirecting the youngers, and it is breaking the relationship between parents and children. That is the main reason why nowadays children are not sharing their personal thoughts, personal ideas between their parents. They don't want to put that. They know that definitely they are going to tell that same old story, if as we discussed. They know that. So this relationship between mother and daughter, or you can tell father and son, is a very sacred relationship. So Gabriela Mistral, she is suggesting that human relationships are very valuable, They're very valuable than whatever the material success you have, becoming a princess or a queen, whatever it is. Human relationship is the most valuable relationship. Keep it in your mind. As a daughter, as a son, you have to share your thoughts, your feelings, your ideas, your plans with your parents. That will greatly support you. But sometimes when the parent is in a position of not understanding, we have to feel so sorry, but you have to give your fullest try for that. What is your favorite path? That should be selected. You have only one life. Your life is in your hand. You have to decide what you are going to do, not anyone else who is around you pushing to do that. Right? So she's continuing. And when night time came, I could never rock her. I don't want them to make my little girl a princess. Now, the most significant feature in this poem is how Gabriela Mistral is refusing the materialistic values, materialistic things. She wanted to promote love and affection, not education, not money making, not status, or not employment. It's just love and affection. That's why she has used three symbols, three metaphors. Did you notice that? In each three stanzas, three symbols, three metaphors, I can say. Symbols or metaphors, okay? One, the sparrow. Two, the princess. And third, the queen. These three metaphors are used by the poetess to represent the material value of life. And plus, she refuses these materialistic values. She vehemently refuses them, okay? And she's emphasizing that love is what she wanted. And she wanted to show that love towards her daughter with her whole heart from the bottom of the heart. So this mother is telling that in a very modest way. Did you notice that? She's telling in a very modest way, I could not comb her hair. When night time comes, I won't be able to sleep with her. I won't be able to rock her. Very simple, innocent phrases. So in this, every phrase that she has given, she is emphasizing that her daughter, her child, should be with her within the distance that she can reach her. So when she grow up into her proper age, she will receive the proper parental love. She will receive the proper affection and the proper necessary security. Can you understand? So there is a deep meaning in this poem. Okay, there's a deep meaning than what you think. There's a deep message also. Right now, I can tell you the conclusion or the message of this poem is like, it is very much relevant to the society. The poetess is involving in a very social criticism. This is conclusion part, so listen carefully. Very difficult part is introduction, conclusion, right? How to start, how to end. Other things you can do something and write down, but here you have to be very careful. What you are going to write down is very careful, because the examiner is having much concentration about your intro, your conclusion, right? So in this conclusion, we can tell the universal message given in the poem and what kind of a moral is there. Now, poetess is really involving in a social criticism, right? She is leveling a very strong attack toward the parents. Not everyone. The parents who are having, the life as a race. They're having a race. They want to build up their children in a very exceptional way. They want their children to be high models in the society. So this poetess, Gabriela Mistral, she's suggesting that parental love is not making your children's future spoiled. Don't show mirage and illusions in their life. Don't show false goals in their life. That is not parental love. Parental love is children should be allowed to live on the earth. They should be taught to keep their feet on the earth and live on the earth. Parents, they should not try to change their life in a miraculous way or they should not try to fabricate whatever they miss to do in their children's life. Oh, I was planning to becoming a doctor. I did my education up to this level, but suddenly I had to marry due to the forceful of this family. But definitely, I'm going to make my daughter a doctor. That is unfair, right? That is unfair. Your daughter might have some other plans. Maybe she's not interested in the studies. Maybe she's interested in aesthetic activities. So they should encourage the children. They should encourage the children to build up their own future. They should encourage them to show the path only. Let them go on. Don't hold their hands. You have to show them the path and they will build up their future. This is the moral and the universal message given by a mother to the society. So you don't think that this mother is very selfish. She doesn't want her child to be educated, well employed, and have a good position in the society. But she's caring about her safety, her security. And she's fearing that if she reached to a high position, materialistic values, wealth, luxury, the social status, they will attract her towards another path and separate this mother and daughter. This is the fear that the mother has. That's why this poem is called as The Fear. Is that clear for you? Now, other than the literary techniques, what I discussed when I'm doing the stanzas, there are some basic ones also. Here you can see I have mentioned narrative. It's in the narrative format. Now, there's a story mentioned here, okay? Gabriela Mistral was inspired by a woman and her daughter. The woman was scared about her daughter going to a college in another state. The daughter was going to become a very successful businesswoman. Her mother was scared her daughter wasn't going to pay attention to her anymore. Due to this, she wrote a poem named Fear. She knew her daughter was going to be successful, so she mentioned her as a princess. Her daughter was going to college overseas, so she said she would fly far away into the sky. Her mother was basically comparing her to a bird who would leave the nest and start their own life. Now, this is the story behind the poem. Can you understand? That's what I emphasized you, materialistic values, education, employment. We are running our life like a race for these worldly life. Clear? Next is personification. The literary devices used in this poem create mood because it makes the story to come to life. That's why this is coming under the theme of life. It is talking about our real life. The poem includes personification, so it compares the little girl to a bird flying away. Remember these techniques, okay? The little girl is compared to a flying bird. It makes the reader understand how the mother is feeling. The mother's feeling you should understand. You have to think in a position of a mother, right? You have to understand. Now, the tone of the poem, yes, tone of the poem, it's actually a fearful tone. Fearful tone means not very scary. A innocent, anxious tone is there. Not a sorrowful tone, but a fearful tone. Okay, a fearful tone is there. She's having a fear that her daughter will fall into a certain trouble or she will leave her away. Just think, will you? That mother is residing in that poem. What is that tone? Definitely, it's a fearful tone, right? She's fearing. She's having a small fear. What will happen if she leave? Now, I told you the narrative story, right? That daughter is going for a college. So, as a mother, will she be unhappy that her daughter is studying? Never. She will be happy, but half-minded. In another position, she will have a fear. Oh, will she come back? Right? Will she settle down there? Right? Who will take care of her? I don't have to I don't have anyone to show my love. So this poem includes personification to compare the little girl into a flying bird. Mother feels like her daughter is growing up too fast. With the evidence, the story's mood is fear. That's what I told you. Mood and tone, both are related. Fear. Fear is the main thing. So mother is very scared that her daughter is growing up, she's learning well, and she's fearing that she will have to leave her daughter, right? Personification in stanza 1. She would fly far away into the sky. Now her mother is comparing her daughter to a bird who can fly far away. That is personification technique. The next is repetition and the imagery. Now, repetition was there plenty of, right? In the first stanza, I don't want them to make my little girl into a swallow. Second stanza, I don't want them to make my little girl a princess. Third stanza, I don't want them to make her queen. I don't want them to make her a queen. Now, there is repetition in those three stanzas. So she's telling the exact same thing to emphasize the fact she really don't want to see all these changes. As a mother, she doesn't want to leave her, and she doesn't want to make a distant relationship. She wants that relationship to continue as it was there, and she wants to lead a very simple life with her daughter. So repetition is there. Imagery, you can visualize. As I showed you in the slides, the presentations, I showed you some pictures. You can imagine, right? Princess, a swallow, and a queen. Those three situations, right? It's not easy to reach to a queen. That kind of imagination you can have it. So imagery is also there. So those techniques are there. And other than that, I told you the techniques, what were their metaphor, and all those things we had mentioned in the stanzas when I'm explaining. Now, if we go to the themes, this is one of the most important one. This is something related to the conclusion as well. Theme means what is the thematic idea? What is the idea of the poem? What is the basic moral of the poem? Why is this poem written? What is the message conveyed here? What is the writer, poetess, she's trying to convey? That is called themes. Now, the theme of this poem is, as I told you, the fear of a mother, the anxious quality of a mother, of losing her daughter, right? So that's what I told you. She is not selfish completely, but she is having a selfish fear. So don't misunderstand this. She's having a selfish fear. Don't think your parents are never selfish to you, right? So she's having a selfish fear, and she's worrying that sometimes her daughter will fly far away. She will leave her and go to a far distance away where nobody can reach her, or where her mother cannot reach her easily. So as I told you, swallow is a bird who can fly far away. Even, it can fly even over Africa, okay? During even the winter season, swallows can fly. That kind of strong birds. So princess, princess is a person who spends a very luxurious life, right? A very luxurious life, very comfortable life. Queen, I told you, head of the state. All the people should be, honoring her. So these three metaphors are used to show the anxious nature of her mother. So that mother has the fear. That the mother is a poor person rooted to one place is evidenced in this metaphor that depicts the child like a bird escaping her sight. She's fearing my daughter will escape from me because I am a poor mother. I told you this one also. The society has all the materialistic things: wealth, luxury, social status. Mother is fearing whether my daughter will be attracted to those things and will she leave me one day. That is the fear that mother has. So she is fearing this little daughter will escape from her sight. Sight means from her vision. So mother is worrying that child will leave her little straw bed. Straw bed, I told you, it's a symbolizing the simple lifestyle. And she wanted to become a princess. Don't know whether my daughter wanted to become a princess. This society will cheat her. And metaphorically, they make her a queen with their royal obligations. The princess and the queen will not be able to be together. You know that, right? Princess and the queen, they can't sleep together. They can't comb their hairs. They can't go outside together, though they are mother and daughter. because their life is luxurious. That is a different life. So here is also the expression of fear for the daughter as life's obligation. This mother is fearing whether I will have to face the same situation as the queen in the palace. Cannot I stay with my daughter? Will it happen to me also? This is the fear. Now you clearly understand what kind of a mood that mother has, what kind of a thought she has. So definitely Gabriela Mistral has done the fear of an innocent mother about her daughter. Right? So this is the whole poem. Stanzas explanation, technique discussion, themes, all are done. Okay, right.